Hi, welcome back to the Boxes Lies game channel. We're playing Merchant of Venus. For this episode, I want to give you an idea of what a player turn looks like, and we'll start with an overview of the movement phase. A player turn consists of movement phase, first contact phase, transaction phase, and merchant spaceport phase. We're going to start with the movement phase, phase 1 of turn 1. But before we start moving anywhere, we need to think about what our objectives are, what we're going to try and achieve on these opening turns. The first thing that's going to happen is our first solo challenge is going to come into effect on turn 1. This is the homesick card, and what it says is that from turn 1 it becomes effective. Moving along a green path costs 1 additional movement point, right? So we've got to remember that. Normally moving down a pathway costs 1 movement point. Moving down a green pathway costs 2 movement points. For as long as this card remains active, it's going to cost us 3 movement points, so an additional 1 to move along a green pathway. Okay. The other thing is every turn it's going to cost us 10 credits. For as long as this challenge remains unresolved, we have to pay 10 credits. Kind of think of it like a tax. In order to get rid of this card, we need to complete the challenge. Okay. But the truth is, we can actually complete any one of these 5 challenges at any point during the game. Alright. The difference is that each one of these later challenges won't become effective. Its effect won't take place until we hit the respective round. So at the moment from round 1, homesick is effective. We have to pay this extra additional movement point and pay the 10 credit tax. Let's have a look at charity case here. This one says when it comes into effect, and it won't come into effect until turn 7, when it comes into effect we reduce our total movement value by 3. Okay, so we're going to lose 3 movement points every turn. And we're going to have to pay the additional tax of 30 credits. So we want to get rid of these things because we don't want to have to pay this tax. And charity case, we can at any point resolve the challenge. We don't have to wait until turn 7. And it says you have at least 250 unspent credits on first contact cards in your player area. Now I'd quite like to try and achieve that one. You don't know what that means just yet, but I'll explain it once we head into the first contact phase. So let's move with a view to doing some first contact, which means contacting one of these cultures on one of these unexplored planets. Now remember, I've got just 50 credits, and I'm going to be paying this fee of 10 credits every turn. So I'm only going to survive 5 turns. If I run out of credits and you can't pay the fee of a solitaire challenge, then you'll immediately lose the game. And the problem is, if we get to, say, round 7 and we haven't completed one of these challenges, then both these are going to be effective. And that means we'll be paying, 30 credit fee here, plus the 10 credit fee of homesick. So by the turn 7, we'll be paying 40 credits per turn. So what I'd like to do is try and make some money before we hit turn 5, so that I don't lose the game, obviously, and also try and get rid of this charity case as my priority, because that's 30 credits rather than the homesick one, 10 credits, which doesn't have such a terrible effect, right? So that's my plan. I've got a strategy. Let's go for it. So let's begin here. We're at the galactic base, and we're going to move away from here in the movement phase. Now you can, if you want, skip your movement phase, but we don't want to do that because that's not going to help us earn any money. So we want to head off somewhere, do some exploring, and then try and make some money somewhere. Immediately before our movement step, the first thing we need to do is pay our fee from the solo challenges. So that's 10 credits. Let's take off 50, grab 40 change. And this is where you're going to come unstuck. I think mostly playing solo is you're going to run out of credits. And normally at the beginning of the movement phase, the first thing you'll do is declare your heading. That's whether we want to head down this line, head down this line, or head down this line. Okay, so you have to say which one of these lines, and you're going to move down these lines that are connected to our spaceport here. We have to set our heading to say which one we'll move down. Now as it goes, if you're on a spaceport or landed on a planet, you get to skip the declare heading point, and you can roll your movement dice and then decide which way you want to go. So that's kind of a little bonus from being in this spaceport. I'll show you that now. The second part of the movement phase is called setting your speed. And for this, we need to roll some of our dice. We need to grab 3 of these white speed dice. And then we'll roll them, and this will determine the speed that we've got set. In other words, how many movement points we get. Okay, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what I want to do is try and get myself to one of these planets. I'd like to have gone this one because it's quite close. But in order to land in this system, I need to head over to this spaceport. The problem I've got is these navigation spots. So with this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movement, you might think, well, I can get there easily. I can just go 1, 2, 3, right? So you move on each of these points along these grey lines. But we have these navigation points. Let's have a closer look at one of them here. As you move into one of these points here, you've got a choice. You can do no navigation at all, in which case we'd have to roll this purple die here, and this would randomly determine which direction we went in. So if we rolled it and we got 5, this says 1, 4, 5 or 6, we would have to head in this direction, and that would be great for us. But if it rolled a 3, we would have headed up this direction. Okay? If we roll a 2, taking us back the way we came, then that's not a legal move as it goes. You can't do a U-turn and come back down a path you've just come up. So if we had rolled a 2 on here, we would have just re-rolled the die until we got something other than a 2. All right, so we're taking things a little bit to chance here. All right, the chances are there's a 1 in 6 chance we would head off the wrong direction. Otherwise, we would head the direction we wanted to go. So we could take a gamble and head that way. The other thing you can do is take one of these dice. So let's say I wanted to head this way, where the number 3 is headed. I could take this number 3 dice. I'd still count its movement, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a navigation die as well. All right. Now, what I want to do is go this way, and that's 1, 4, 5, 6. I don't have a 1, 4, 5, or a 6. Right? Unlucky roll. But let's say I took number 3. I could force my ship to go this way if I took this and placed it here in this navigation spot. I think the best thing I can do is gamble, not assign a navigation die, and head this way. And let's roll this one, and I've got a 1 in 6 chance of being pushed the wrong way. Okay, let's roll the purple effect die, and we're hoping for a 1, 4, 5 or 6 to push us this way. There's a 2. Remember, that pushes us back where we came, and in fact, it's not in the rule book, but the FAQ tells us if we roll a 2 like this, we roll again. 5, excellent, okay. With a 5, this takes us this way, so we've spent 1, 2, 3. Right, we've got enough movement to reach that spaceport, but before we move on, we've just passed something here. This is an encounter spot, and before we can move on, we have to draw an encounter card, and we have to resolve that encounter before continuing our movement. So let's grab an encounter card, and we get Xeno Trade. And this says, place an asteroid token on your current space. You may end your turn here and decrease your laser value by 1. To take a premium silver goods token from any culture not yet discovered. Well, that sounds pretty neat, actually. So it's free stuff. So I might just do that. All right, I've lost a turn, but free stuff might be helpful. I might be lucky. All right, let's do this. Discard this one. Grab an asteroid token. We'll place it here. Doesn't matter which token we take. And then it says we can take a premium silver good from an undiscovered culture. Now, I've grabbed a few here just to show you. Let me take some of these out. So this is a basic or bronze coloured one. This is premium silver coloured one. And this is the luxury or gold coloured one. So these 3 different coloured goods from all these different cultures. I guess choose a premium silver one. So as it goes, I'm going to grab this Impossible Furniture good. This is Impossible Furniture. This is an image. This is the culture from which you can buy this good. So this is culture number 11. And if you bought this good, it would normally cost you 110 credits. So I've got quite a good free item there. 110 is the high-end premium good. And if I wanted to sell this, which is what I really want to do, and goods are no use to me other than for selling, I can only sell this at cultures 12, 13, 14, 1 and 2. So at the moment I haven't discovered any of those cultures, so I'm going to have to hold on to this. It's going to be taking up space in my cargo hold until I can sell it. And how much space does it take up in my cargo hold? Well, flip it over and you'll see this little icon here, these 2 black circles in this white box. Well, on your ship you've got 2 cargo holds like this, each with 2 circles. So at the moment I've got capacity for 2 goods that take up 2 capacity. Alright, make sense? So I may have a good that only uses 1 circle, which means I'll be able to put 2 of them in here. Alright, I've got room to expand. At the moment these grey ones are cargo holds I don't have. At the moment I have 2 cargo holds, and this one is going to take up a whole 1 of those cargo holds. And then you've got these 3 values, a high value, a medium value and a low value. Remember, these cost 110 to buy. Alright, I got it for free. And if I was selling this to a high market, I would get 200, medium 180 and a low market 160. So it's within my interest to find a culture, 12, 13, 14, 1 or 2, that currently has a high market. And we'll understand that once we go to first contact and discover a culture and figure out whether it's in a high, mid or low market where we can sell these things. Alright, that'll do for now. So you can see that I've got myself some goods and I'm hoping to explore, find these cultures and sell it and make some money. But unfortunately, as a consequence, that's going to have to wait, because in taking that encounter and taking that free good which I found on this asteroid, I'm going to have to end my movement there. So my turn's going to end. So let's see what happens at the end of a turn. Well, not a great deal actually. All I'm going to do is move the turn order token down 1 to turn number 2. And that means we're going to begin again at our movement step. I'm going to have to pay 10 credits, the fee for the Homesick Challenge card. And I'm right back again at the movement step. So once more, let's roll our movement dice, set our speed, and we can see this movement play out one more time. And given I want to land here, my speed die aren't really going to have much influence on things. Okay, so I've got 15, which is more than enough to get me to the spaceport, and now my movement ends and we're going to have a first contact. Some of these systems have spaceports where you can dock on land. Others don't have spaceports and you actually have to travel down these green lines and land on the planet's surface. We're in nebula habitat. The first thing we do is we flip this card and we find out exactly which culture is located here. And it is Colossus. We're going to take this card and place it in our player area. We might need to make a little bit more space for these. And then we need to observe this number here, which in this case says 90 credits. Right, we'll take 90 credits from the bank. So we'll take a 50 and 4 10s. Now these are credits that only we can spend only with that culture. Okay? They're called IOU credits, and they stay here on this card in your player area, and you can only spend those 90 credits to buy things from the Colossus culture. The other thing to observe is that the Colossus are culture number 12. So we need to go find the number 12 tokens. Here we have them, and place these out on the board. Now in the nebula habitat where this culture has been revealed to live, this area here is called the market. And there's 3 market tokens for each culture. These are they. We saw them earlier in the setup video. What we need to do is shuffle these. These tokens are going to tell us whether the market is high, for this green arrow, medium, this circle gear icon, or low, red. So remember when I was saying you could buy goods in a high market, a middle, or a low market, this will say if this is the market card which is face up, then we are in a high market here. If it's this one, it's a mid, and if it's this one, it's a low, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve right now. And once we're happy, form a stack and turn it face up. Okay, so we've got a middling market. Then we have two more stacks of cards. We've got these improvements here that we can buy to improve our ship, and then we've got a stack of goods. The goods are going to go here in the market space, and these things that we can improve our ship with, actually called racial technology tokens, they're going to go here. Now at this point during first contact, we can immediately execute up to 3 buy and up to 3 sell actions with this culture. Now that's worked out pretty neat for us because we've got this impossible furniture and we can sell this at culture number 12. So let's do that. Now remember, we're in a medium market. This circular gear represents the medium market. So for each one of these impossible furniture goods we sell, we get 180 credits, right? It was not the 200, but it's not the worst either. It's not 160. And 180 credits is going to keep me going for a little bit longer in this game. And when you sell, you would normally be placing this is number 11, on the spot here. But remember, I'm keeping my stuff bagged up, so I'm going to put this back in the bag for culture number 11. And I get to take my 150, 60, 70, 180 credits. It's a great start. And I can add these to the 30 I've already got. Now remember, I've got 90 here which I can spend, and I've just realised when I took that Xeno trade, when I blew up the asteroid, I should have lowered my lasers by 1, so I'll do that now. Now as it goes, I don't want to spend any of that money I've got, that IOU money, because this was charity case. It says to complete this challenge you have to have at least 250 unspent credits on first contact cards in your play area. So I'm 90 now, 90 of the 250 completed. So I can do some more exploring and hopefully I'll get this challenge completed. But you know, I could spend some of my other money that's not on the IOU, not on the first contact card, and buy some of this stuff. And this is the thing, this is the difference with the solo game. You've got to be a little bit more cautious with your money. If you're playing multiplayer, you know, buy and sell as much as you want. There's no consequence for it. But in the solitaire game, you've got to be a little bit more cautious with your money, paying these fees. Now we've decided to finish our transactions. In any turn we've completed at least one sell action, we need to do something called a market shift. And that means we take the top card here, and we're going to place this back on the bottom and reveal the next market token. This market shift only happens when a player does a sell. And what that means is then next time we come to sell here, we'll be looking at a high market. For now, we're going to end our turn there, and we're going to proceed to round 3.